Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is episode 3 of Amplifi Unplugged. I'm your host, Rob Leonard, and with me today, very pleased to have a young lady who calls herself Sages.
Thank you.
She's from the Orangeville area, or directly in Orangeville. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Orangeville, whatever.
Perfect, in the Orangeville area. And your genre, you describe it as underground electronic pop. For people that maybe aren't familiar with that, maybe give us a little description. I guess the best way would be to listen to your music.
Yeah, maybe you should listen to my music, but it's mostly just like synthesizers, a lot of electronic sounds. It's all programmed, really. I produce my music, so it's very much like just virtual sounds or like samples that I've accumulated and just made into music.
And then, of course, your voice over top of that. And I've had a chance to listen to some of the EP, and I would almost describe it as haunting, almost. You're of course, I'm very familiar with your singing voice as it is, but in this particular EP, it's called Strawberry Crystal. Spellbinding is what I describe it as.
It's pretty much magic. It was created with magic, and Strawberry Crystal. So it's, I don't know how to explain it. My voice. Sorry. Anyways.
But you're saying you don't care for your voice? Is that what you're saying?
Like I love my voice. I'm so obsessed with my voice. Like I'll listen to it all the time. My dad actually just recently said something like, "You sound like Jim Morrison," or like you have a Jim Morrison-esque kind of sound to it, and he's one of my influences. So it's kind of like that droning, like spiritual, I don't know how to explain it. I just kind of go into the void and just find my voice.
Okay, and actually your father and that connection to the music was going to be one of my questions, so why not, let's discuss that now, and maybe your father being probably one of your biggest influences as a young girl growing up.
Oh yeah, probably the biggest one, because from being birthed to like being who I am now, it's like he's always been there. So he's a producer, and he's been in the music business and like several facets of the music business. Is it faucets or facets?
It's facets, but that's all right. It can
I
be
like
faucets. I like faucets too. We'll go with faucets.
It reminds me of like a piping system.
Yeah. That's what producers do. They kind of
they get through. It's like the piping system. Yeah. Anyway, so and like he's just always been a influence for me. I don't think I ever wanted to do what he did until recently, which is like producing. I always saw it as like kind of a bore, but then you get into it and you're like, wow, this is way more interesting than just writing songs. You get to, like,
and there's so many different
them.
ways you can go in the music industry. So many different things you can get into. It's you start off, well, some people start off in the technical end of the business, and then they end up, singing or being stars or whatever. It can work in so many different ways.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, so we've touched on your beginnings a little bit with your influence at home. So let's talk about you and where your music started.
Sages. So Sages is my solo project. I've always had bands previously. Like I was always working with guys making music and learning from them because I kind of didn't know how to. So I was like, okay, I have a basic song structure, and I'd get someone to help me with drums and with guitar. And from there, I just found it to be so hard to control everyone and be like, hey, just do what I want you to do. So I was like, I need to learn how to just make my own music and somehow perform it and just put myself out there as a solo artist, because I have all these visions, and it's just like a super explosion of visions that I can't get other people to do.
Right.
So it was something where I just decided, like, I'm going to be an individual on it, which is kind of scary because you're like, oh, it's all on you. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, and well, it's no secret that we've known you for a long time, and you wrote some of your songs actually probably in our living room or on our deck. And but I remember, many times I'd be sitting there on my phone or whatever, and you'd be practicing or playing a song, and without even knowing it, and then you'd stop singing, and I go, why did you stop? Keep singing. It was just kind of like it. I've been impressed with your voice for a very long time. So, and quite impressed with where you've advanced here with Strawberry Crystal.
Strawberry Crystal.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Next question. Actually, you know what? Let's take a second. We do have some clips from Strawberry Crystal. We're going to take a second here, and we're going to let you hear a little bit of Strawberry Crystal and have a listen, and we'll be right back. And there's just a little taste of Sage's, and from her EP, Strawberry Crystal. And stay tuned to the end of the show, and we're going to have a lot bit more from that particular EP. So next question, it's a two-part question. What does your music mean to you? And what do you hope to convey to your listeners through your music?
So my music is more of a cathartic release for me. Like, it's very much like I have a lot of emotions, I have a lot of thoughts, and it's like therapy to just kind of like throw it all into a song. So that's what it means to me. It's always been something that it stays with you. My whole life I've just always written music and felt music. And
so if someone is to listen to this particular EP, which song means the most to you? Which can you pick one out of the five that really has the most impact on you, or when you wrote it you really felt that it really had a ton of meaning to you?
All of them have a lot of meaning, and they all kind of relate to something that I've gone through or experienced or come to realization of. And especially, I'd say Eternity really like hit with me. It was the first song I wrote, and it was the first song I put on the EP. And it was something where I realized I was an eternal being, and that my presence was just constant, and that like there's a weird way that you're so powerful yet so powerless in that moment. Like you're everything and nothing all at once, and it kind of has this like feeling of release, but also like, what can I even do as a being here? Like, what is my purpose here? What can I accomplish here if I'm nothing and everything? So that's
an amazing answer.
Yeah, it's kind of like
it's an eternity.
It's eternity. It's like, it's literally just like what do you do with eternity? That's a lot of time. And how do you fill it if you don't have anything you believe in? And like, I know a lot of people who are really like apathetic, or just like going through depression or things like that, and it's like, it's true, like, what do you do? But I've obviously come out of the other end, which is really interesting, because when you're in it, you're like, I'm never gonna get out of this feeling of like eternity. Yeah. And then you come out of it and you're like, wow, okay, I'm powerful, I got a lot going, like I can do so much, I can help so many people. So.
And there's so many people that could relate to that on so many levels, and so there's the song to listen to on the EP, folks. Eternity. Called Eternity. Make sure you listen to that one, as well as the other four, but start with Eternity. Okay?
Yeah. It's number one, so
yeah. So let's talk about the future. What do you see for yourself? What do you hope for yourself? You mentioned possibly producing someday, but what do you foresee in the near future for yourself, for Sages?
Well, future is a dangerous place because it doesn't exist, but it's like and it always changes too, right? Like it's always like, oh, I want to do that, and then you're like, no, wait, I'd rather do this. But for the future, right now, like what I'm going towards is just writing music from my heart, and really just discovering what that can do for me and what that can do for other people, and how that will like impact people and how it will influence people. So I just want to put myself out there, and I want to talk to people. I realize like I have a lot to say, and I'm going to say it, so.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. And like I said, I've listened to the songs from the album, and you do say it very well.
Yeah.
Again, I'm mentioning Strawberry Crystal.
Yeah.
Just an amazing album. Now, you're also working on a concept album right now, and it's called The Void and How to Fill It. Now, first off, concept album. Is that, are you staying with the genre, or are you switching? Are you changing anything up? Or
It's a little more spacey. It's less structured pop. It's a little more experimental. It's a little more me, I'd say, because I think when you discover more about yourself, you discover more about yourself musically. And so, yeah, it's more spacey. It's more, it's definitely different. You'll like it. I think a lot of people will like it. Yeah.
And that's what people are looking for nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody tries to sound the same, or they do sound the same or something. And to be an individual and to bring your own idea and everything is fantastic. Yeah. So really looking forward to that one too. So you make sure you let us know when that's ready.
Should be
and we'll,
really soon.
Yeah,
hopefully.
and we'll make sure we get it mentioned on the show. So you've got some upcoming shows you'd like to mention?
Well, I have one show because by the time this, and it's in Hamilton at the Baltimore House, and it's with a few of my favorite artists ever. Like when I listen to them, I'm like, oh my god, these guys are great, and they're even influences in what I do and what I make. And so there's Sad Sorcerer, Bears and Children, and Fresh Flesh, and they're all really great, so you should check them out too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so the date again in Hamilton
It's February 19th at the Baltimore House.
At the Baltimore House. Make sure, if you're in the Hamilton area, and make sure you try and get out and check out that show. Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it. Fantastic interview.
You.
So glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And we're going to finish off with some more music. Some more of your music at the end of it, and in the end credits we're going to put in the links to your pages. You're on Facebook, look for Sages. And do you have any other pages other than that?
That's pretty much it.
Just Sages pages.
Yeah.
Sages pages?
Pages of Sages.
Pages of Sages. Right, perfect. Again, thank you very much, Sages, for being here, making the trip all the way from Orangeville, Ontario. And we'll be looking forward to some more amazing stuff from you.
Of course, always.
All right, and for videographer, the lovely Fiona, I'm Rob Leonard. That's it for Amplified what is it? It's Amplify Unplugged, episode number 3. We'll see you next time.